Here's the shocking truth behind Red Bull's latest Formula One car, the RB20. Aston Martin has blown the lid off Red Bull's secretive radical changes in their RB20 design, leaving everyone in the racing world buzzing with curiosity. Also, Aston Martin, the iconic car brand, has exposed Red Bull's hidden secrets, revealing unexpected modifications to their RB20 car. What could these changes be? How will they affect Red Bull's performance on the track? Let's dive into this video to know what's going on behind the scenes in the high-stakes world of Formula One. Let's uncover the scandalous truth and get the inside scoop on Red Bull's radical changes in the RB20. Many people think Red Bull Racing can win this year's championship, even with their old car, the RB19. But Adrian Newey and his team weren't entirely sure about that, so they made some big changes to the RB20 to make it look different from the RB19 in some ways. Aston Martin's boss, Dan Fallows, shared his thoughts on Red Bull's decision. After the winter testing, everyone in the Formula One world agreed. Red Bull and Max Verstappen are way ahead of everyone else, and it's going to be exciting to see who comes after them. But Aston Martin isn't giving up hope just yet. When Fallows saw the pictures of the RB20 for the first time, he was pleasantly surprised. He said, "It's nice to see that people are trying to do things differently. I think we're all trying to make the most out of the cars within the regulations. Interestingly, even with 2 years left, there are still new things to try. So yeah, good." He also said, "We still have 2 years with these rules, so there's still time for other teams to catch up." He said this to GP Blog and others, showing that Aston Martin still believes they can do well despite Red Bull's strong performance. He added, "At the end of last season, we noticed that the competition was getting closer. It was getting very competitive. I can't say for sure what Red Bull's reasons were for making big changes to their car, but it seems like they thought they needed to make a big change. As for us, we were pretty happy with how our car was performing towards the end of last season. We wanted to keep that momentum going into this season. We wanted to make sure we had a solid foundation to build on throughout the season. That's what we're aiming for," explained the technical director at Aston Martin. Let's talk about RB20. And introducing the Red Bull RB20, the car is expected to help Max Verstappen win his 4th World Championship in 2024. While the livery of the RB20 looks similar to last year's RB19, the actual design of the car is quite different and surprising. This is concerning for the other teams on the grid who are still trying to catch up. Interestingly, the new design, created by Adrian Newey and his team, bears some resemblance to Mercedes' old zero-side pod design, with vertical air inlets at the side of the car. However, these features are not visible in the official images. Is Red Bull intentionally teasing other teams with this design? The 2 large exhaust pipes on the sides of the RB20's engine cover resemble those seen on the 2023 Mercedes car. However, both these features and the RB20's side pods seem to have a significant aerodynamic function. However, not everything is going smoothly at Red Bull. Sergio Perez had a tough time last season, finishing with significantly fewer points than his teammate, although he still managed to secure 2nd place in the championship. Additionally, some serious news involves team principal Christian Horner, who is currently being investigated following a complaint filed with the Red Bull parent company. Radical changes. On the first day of pre-season testing in Bahrain, Red Bull announced significant changes to their 2024 F1 car. Despite their dominance last year, the RB20 surprised everyone with a fresh design at their launch event in Milton Keynes last week. In 2023, Red Bull won 21 out of 22 races, but instead of sticking with a similar concept, Adrian Newey and his team decided to overhaul their package. The new design features vertical side pod inlets and a tall engine cover, bearing similarities to the zero side pod direction Mercedes previously adopted. Max Verstappen got behind the wheel of the RB20 on the first day of testing and set the pace, clocking the fastest time after the first 4 hours of running. He was 7/10 quicker than his closest competitor, Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. The RB20 also showed its cooling system with horizontal and vertical inlets on its side pods. Additionally, there are inlets on either side of the rollover hoop above the cockpit for more cooling. Speaking at last week's launch, Max Verstappen acknowledged the resemblance between this year's car and recent Mercedes models, saying, "I would still call it a Red Bull style, but I know what you mean." Christian Horner, the team principal of Red Bull, who is currently under investigation for allegations of inappropriate behavior from a female colleague, further explained the design last week. Horner commented, "There's some great innovation on the car as well that will no doubt get scrutinized over the coming weeks. Creativity has been strong in the team. You can see that in some of the solutions they've developed. It's not a conservative evolution, there's some great innovation on the car." He added, "Obviously, the car looks quite visibly different in certain areas to last year. Only the stopwatch will tell, but we wouldn't have committed it to design in the virtual world if we didn't feel it was better." Red Bull is once again the clear favorite this year, with Verstappen aiming for a fourth consecutive championship, which would match ex-Red Bull driver Sebastian Vettel's record. Advantages of radial changes. In practice, it's crucial to observe and understand how certain solutions on the cars work and what their intended purpose is. This became evident with the vertical inlets on the RB20 after we learned about the radiator inlet's true location during the first testing day. Initially, the vertical inlet was thought to serve a similar function to the bypass induct on the Ferrari SF24. However, it serves this function as well, but on a secondary level. The inlet also provides cooling for the turbocharger. The cooler is positioned at floor level and supported by it, while the vertical inlet directs air through a special duct. This solution is intriguing because it represents an extreme version of the V-shaped longitudinal radiator placement seen in recent years. Placing the cooler at floor level offsets the position of the radiators at the top of the side pods. This ensures that the car's center of gravity remains unchanged and promotes balance on a dynamic level. Paul speaks about the latest radical changes. The head engineer at Red Bull, Paul Monahan, explained that even though they won't completely change the design of their 2024 car, they need to make improvements to stay ahead of the competition. He said, "It would be wrong of us to just leave it alone because our opposition is getting closer." He clarified that the car design rules are stricter than in previous years, making it a bit challenging to make significant changes. Monahan stated, "It perhaps wouldn't surprise you if I said the 2024 car will be an evolution of the current car, as it would be a bit foolish to throw this concept away." However, he emphasized the need for progress and finding ways to improve lap times. Monahan pointed out that other teams are catching up, saying, "But equally, we've got to make some progress. We've got to find some lap time. The opposition is on us, and if they take a step, then we'd better take a bigger step." But the RB20 keeps a lot of the lessons and good things from the current car, and from Bahrain next year, we'll see if we've done a good job. A positive aspect of Red Bull's 2024 car design is that it will spend more time in the wind tunnel than the RB19. Last year, the team faced restrictions due to a 10% reduction in wind tunnels and CFD, computational fluid dynamics, running as a penalty for breaking the cost cap in 2021. This penalty is now over. Monahan, the head engineer, mentioned that facing these limits last year taught the team to be extremely efficient with their work. This efficiency is valuable even with more time for testing, and it helps the team make better improvements to their car. "It made us rethink how efficiently we conduct tests in the wind tunnel and use CFD," he explained. "Even though everyone has limitations, everyone desires efficiency. This pushed us to make some small improvements. They may not be groundbreaking, but any enhancements we make will be advantageous. As we get a bit more testing time, we want to use it more efficiently, like getting the most out of every little bit we have." So what do you think of the latest radical changes made in RB20 by Red Bull? Comment below and subscribe for more such videos.